he's like, my staff wants to take off your leg at the hip, but I think I can save more your leg. But it's going to be a street fight, and it's one I need you in with me.
Yeah.
There were several commanders that were going to assume an enormous risk by taking a one-legged guy and putting him back onto an ODA that was going back into Afghanistan to do direct action combat operations, like a whole bunch of them. So due diligence was certainly in order.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, they ended up throwing the kitchen sink at me. You would assume that there'd be a lot of physical stuff, which there was, but they really went pretty broad, where I was doing different proficiency evaluations, cognitive assessments, psychological screenings, like a whole of person approach to testing to see if I would be able to operate in that capacity. And then at the conclusion of that, it ended up being about 12, 13 weeks. I would usually do maybe 2 to 4 a week, around 4 months. And then after that, it was right back at it. They're like, take him at the hip and let's just move on. And the chief ortho surgeon, so the guy that runs the department, he just retired from the Army as a colonel, was the only one that said, no, I think we can save more of his leg. His entire staff is like, no, sir, like, we need to cut this thing off right now. And he's like, hold on a second. And I was the first conversation I remember ever having at Walter Reed conversation. It was more of a one-way street because I'm whacked out. I'm in the intensive care unit, and he's like, hey, man, I'm Dr. Delaran. I'm the chief ortho here at Walter Reed. I'm just looking up at him. No idea what's going on. He's like, my staff wants to take off your leg at the hip, but I think I can save more of your leg. But it's going to be a street fight, and it's one I need you in with me. And I looked up at him, and I was like, let's do that. And I barely understood what this dude just said, other than what I got was, I'm going to go get into a fight and I want you to come with me. And I was like, I'm in. And that was like pretty much the extent of what I grasped. And that's the route he went. And just talk about assuming an enormous risk. Like if I had died, like I easily could have, he'd have a lot of people to answer to. Like, what were you doing? You had a team of professionals that were all like, dude, this is clearly the way to go. And you're like, no, I'm going this route.
Crazy.